What's good, YouTube? Appreciate y'all tuning back in. For today's video, I'm gonna try to keep it short. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing in the garden I've already done before and showed how to do, but there's a couple things that I'm doing different today as opposed to some of the previous days. So it rained last night, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to water the garden. If I do, it'll just be a light water. So I'm gonna focus on a couple other tasks. So I'm gonna transplant some of these peppers and tomatoes into the garden. I've already showed how to transplant a lot of things, and I even had a video last year where I showed how to transplant like peppers and tomatoes and whatnot. So I'm not going to show exactly how I do the peppers. It's going to be the same exact way that I've transplanted some plants over the last couple of weeks in my previous videos, so make sure you check those out. But the only difference is going to be the tomatoes. So the tomatoes, I'm going to just show what the difference is in transplanting those. I'm gonna go out to the garden bed and show exactly where I'm gonna put like the peppers and put the tomato plants at, and then the rest of these seedlings I won't plant yet. I'll just keep taking care of those, but I'm gonna show where in the garden I'm gonna plant those, and then after I transplant them all, I'll just show what the end product looks like and what the garden bed, like the updated version of what the garden beds are looking like once the tomatoes and the pepper plants are in. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go into the difference with transplanting tomato plants. So I don't know, I'm gonna try to zoom in and make it as clear as possible. And maybe if I get into some light, you can see a little bit better. But if you zoom all the way in on those tomato plants, there's like little white hairs almost. If you see them, you'll see them on most tomato plants, if not all of them. I'm pretty sure they're on all of them, and I don't know what they're called, but I'll put the name of them if I can find it in the video. But whenever you plant that in the ground, more roots sprout from that, so that's giving it, you know, a little bit more security, more of an anchor whenever more roots come out, and then it gives it more access to food too. It helps it grow a little bit quicker as well. So with the tomato plants, what I do is I pull off some of the bottom like leaves and bottom suckers at the bottom, and then plant it as deep as I can while some leaves are still hanging out. That way, once it really gets settled and it gets used to being transplanted, it'll sprout up a whole lot. So that's really the only difference whenever I'm planting tomato plants. And I'll show another one. Hopefully you can see the white hairs a little bit better. So here's another one. It's real hard to see, but there's like small little fuzzy hairs. But I'm gonna try to zoom in real quick, just because I really want to get a good idea of what it looks like. So if you can see those fuzzy hairs right there, all those turn into roots. So I'll make sure to bury all of them whenever I transplant the plants into the ground. So that's the only difference with the tomatoes. And once I pluck the leaves off, I'll probably just come back and show exactly what I mean. And then once I transplant it in the garden, I'll do a close-up just to see exactly, just to show exactly what I'm talking about. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the garden bed and show where I'm gonna transplant all the pepper plants and the tomato plants, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get them transplanted, probably thin out a couple seedlings, and then I'll come back afterwards just to show an update on how I was able to complete all my tasks in the garden today. Alright, so now I'm at the back two garden beds, and hopefully the traffic is not too loud. But so for those four right there, I'm gonna plant all the tomatoes. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tomato plants there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 pepper plants there, and I think 5 in that one right there. That's how I'm gonna start. I still have a couple squares open over like those 4 squares right there. I haven't decided what I'm gonna put there yet, so I'll probably throw some more pepper plants right there, maybe some more herbs, and maybe even some more tomato plants. But so for right now, I'm just gonna do those 4. And then those 4, and then the rest of the seedlings I'll still keep in the greenhouse and pull them outside until they're big enough. Then I'll figure out if I'm gonna plant those in pots or just give those away. But I just wanted to show the areas I'm gonna plant them in. I'm gonna go ahead and thin out some seedlings while I'm out here in the garden. Some of the seedlings over here in this garden bed finally sprouted. It's like the okra sprouted right here, and then some of the beans right there sprouted. So I'm gonna probably thin some of those seedlings out as I go, and as I'm transplanting everything into the garden. And then once I'm done, I'm gonna come back and show exactly what it looks like once I have a finished product. All right, so actually real quick, I just wanted to show what the tomatoes look like once some of the leaves are cut off. So those are the 3 leaves that I cut right there. So you can see one was right there at the bottom, another right there on the left, and then, well, 2 right there on the left, and then 1 right there a little bit above in the middle. So I cut a couple of those off. I'm gonna plant the plant all the way pretty much to right there under the soil once I transplant it. And then, like I said, I'll show what it looked like after I'm done. But the tomato plant will still continue to grow upwards, and I'll probably still continue to trim at the bottom. That way I can force more growth upwards and force more like fruit production rather than just a whole lot of leaf production. So I'm gonna show it after I transplant it and show what it looks like, the final product anyway, and I'll just come back after that. Alright, so it took a little bit longer than I expected, and I actually forgot to talk about the eggplants too. So I'm over here back to garden beds where I transplanted everything. First I'm gonna show the eggplants. So I got the eggplants right here. Pretty much the same exact method of transplanting as the peppers are, so nothing, you know, not too much to really talk about there. And then the tomatoes right here. So try to zoom in as much as possible and get as clear of a picture as possible. But you can see how I planted it way into the soil, planted the stem way into the soil, and I probably could have even gone down a little bit more, but I think that should be fine. But those are all 4 tomatoes right there. So that's one variety of tomato, cherry tomato, another like heirloom tomato. I can't remember exactly what variety it is, but that's another one. And then this last one right here, this one is still kind of in the shade. And then the 4 pepper plants over here, well actually 5 pepper plants over here. So I got the habanero plant right there. That's Carolina Reaper. This is a jalapeno. Hopefully it's clear. And then there's a bell pepper last right there. I'm sorry, that's that's a bell pepper. And then that's a banana pepper right there. This is what the garden beds look like so far. I recently just harvested some spinach, Swiss chard, and lettuce probably about 2 days ago, so I'm gonna probably harvest some more. I mean, they're growing a lot faster than I'm probably gonna be able to keep up with here pretty soon. Sorry for that noise, somebody's revving their engine up on the highway, but beets, carrots and stuff over there, probably be able to harvest those pretty soon. And then I'm gonna go over to this other garden bed again real quick. So the arugula, I just showed how to harvest those. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some more right now, and I won't show that, there's just no point. Collards, I'll probably wait a couple more days. They're getting pretty big, but I think I'm gonna wait a couple more days before I actually start harvesting them. And then hopefully the broccoli can take off pretty soon too. But this is an update on the garden beds. I mean, they're pretty much almost all filled in. I would say they're probably about 60% full. Nah, probably about 75% full between 1, 2, and 3, between all 3 of them. But I got a couple more spots I need to plant. I might plant some zucchini right there where the squash and zucchini are. If they don't take up too much space, I might just go ahead and plant a couple more right there. Still gotta plant some cucumbers where I got the seedlings at. Then I gotta figure out what I want to plant there, and I'll probably plant some more melons and some more like leafy greens here in the next day or so too. But that pretty much wraps up the video. Just wanted to show what it looks like once I transplant it. Yeah, I'll plant this into the garden. I'm hoping they'll really take off. Today's supposed to be a real warm day, and I think we're gonna get rain sometime at the end of this week. So I hope they are really able to kind of get used to their new environment. I hardened them off pretty well, so I'm hoping they'll be able to get used to their new environment pretty quickly and go ahead and take off and have you know, start flowering and start fruiting pretty soon. But until next time, guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new episodes. But until next time, peace.